They laughed as she was forced to marry the poorest man in town. But just 48 hours later, every single one of them was begging for forgiveness. Emily Carter grew up in one of the wealthiest families in New York. Her father cared about one thing: power. When his business empire began collapsing under massive debt, he made a shocking decision. To protect the family's reputation, he arranged Emily's marriage, but not to a billionaire, not to a politician. To a poor, quiet mechanic named Daniel Brooks. Everyone believed Daniel had nothing. He wore old clothes, drove a rusty pickup truck, and lived in a tiny house on the edge of town. Emily was devastated. "This can't be happening," she whispered through tears. Her father coldly replied, "You don't have a choice." The wedding was simple: no luxury decorations, no celebrities, no expensive gifts. Guests whispered behind Daniel's back, "She deserves better. She's throwing her life away." Emily couldn't even look at her new husband. She believed her future had been destroyed. But Daniel never argued. He simply smiled gently and said, "I promise, one day you'll understand." The first days were uncomfortable. Daniel woke up before sunrise every morning. He cooked breakfast, he cleaned the house, he treated Emily with patience and kindness, yet she remained distant. One afternoon, she finally asked, "Why are you always so calm? Doesn't it bother you that everyone thinks you're worthless?" Daniel looked at her and quietly answered, "People judge what they can see. I stopped worrying about that a long time ago." Emily didn't understand. 2 days later, a black luxury convoy stopped outside their small home. Men in expensive suits stepped out. One of them rushed toward Daniel. "Mr. Brooks, the board meeting is ready. The shareholders are waiting." Emily froze. "What board meeting?" Daniel sighed. "I guess it's time you knew." The convoy drove them to the tallest building downtown. Emily stared at the giant logo on the skyscraper, Brooks Global Holdings, one of the largest investment companies in the country. Her heart stopped. Inside the executive boardroom, every director stood the moment Daniel entered. "Good morning, Chairman." Emily couldn't believe her ears. Daniel wasn't poor. He owned the company, the hotels, the shopping centers, the factories, even the bank that had secretly financed her father's business years earlier. Daniel had disguised himself as an ordinary worker after inheriting his late grandfather's empire. He wanted to know who respected people without money. Most failed that test. Emily finally asked the question that haunted her. "Then, why did you agree to marry me?" Daniel smiled softly. "Because I knew you never wanted this marriage either," he continued. "I watched how your father controlled every part of your life. None of this was your choice." Emily's eyes filled with tears. For the first time, someone understood her pain, not because of her family's wealth, but because of who she truly was. Meanwhile, Emily's father arrived at Brooks Global, hoping to negotiate another loan. Instead, he discovered Daniel sitting in the chairman's office. His face turned pale. The man he had mocked, the man he had treated like garbage, was now the only person who could save his company. He dropped his pride instantly. I'm sorry," Daniel calmly replied. Respect should never depend on someone's bank account. He refused revenge. Instead, he offered one condition: if your company survives, every employee keeps their job, and you treat every worker with dignity. Emily watched in silence. This wasn't weakness, this was true strength. Months later, Emily and Daniel built a life based on honesty, kindness, and trust. She realized real wealth wasn't hidden in luxury cars or expensive suits, it was found in character, and Daniel had been rich all along, not just in money, but in heart. Sometimes the poorest-looking person in the room is carrying the greatest fortune, and sometimes, the greatest victory isn't proving people wrong. It's choosing kindness when you finally have the power to hurt them. If this story touched your heart, like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes you should never judge a person by their appearance. You never know who they truly are.